Hey guys, I have a couple things on my mind today. What it means to be a 3%ers. What is the 3%ers? The 3%ers is a national organization made up of patriotic citizens who love their country, their freedoms, and their liberty. We are committed to standing against and exposing corruption and injustice. We are not a militia. However, we do have meetings on local levels. These meetings are to help members network together and to learn from each other. Being a 3%er is more of a way of a life rather than a club to join, such as there are no membership fees or dues, and we will not charge people to participate in a movement that defends civil liberties. However, some events may be held at fundraising, operational costs, website hosting, forum participation, training resources, etc. are paid through donations or proceeds from the online store. Mostly we are an open source community, meaning we help each other and try not to rely on third parties or institutions that cost money for our operations. We consist of volunteers, and no member at any level is on any payroll provided by our organization. We are not anti-government. In fact, we are very pro-government. So long as the government abides by the Constitution and doesn't overstep its bounds and remains for the people and by the people, our goal is to utilize the fail-safes put in place by our founding fathers to rein an overreaching government and push back against tyranny. One thing on that is we've already got tyranny in our government, and one of the pictures I like is 3%ers picture, and it says, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty, or order, whichever word you want to put in at the end. But we are working to preserve the intent of our government as designed. We do not intend to implement our own government, just a chain of command, such as me, the commanding officer of my 3%ers group. I will have my number 2, which is my right hand man, Mike Ironman Shirey, and I have yet to determine an executive officer. But we are not implementing our own government. There is often a misconception that we are wanting to overthrow the government. No, that is what a militia does. A militia overthrows the freaking government. We don't. 3%ers are made up of patriots, people who served, people who are serving, people who will serve, people who have been in law enforcement, firefighting, paramedics, doctors, nurses, contractors. I mean, we are the nation. That's what a 3%er is. We are who we are. I'm trying to think of what I wanted to say. Think of any job out there that is currently open inside the United States. We are the people who fill those roles. We are the presidency. We are corporations, firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, police, nurses, doctors, contractors, lawyers, attorneys, district attorneys, judges. We are the United States. That's what people don't understand. We do not want to overthrow the government. This is simply not true and a false rumor to try and paint our movement as anti-government. We do not seek to incite a revolution. However, we will defend ourselves when necessary. I like to say, I may not have fought for you. I may not have loved you. I may not have cherished you. I may not have liked you. I may not have done anything for you. But I will fight for you. I will die for you. I will protect you. We are not here to create violence. Violence should always be a last resort. Even then, should only be defensive in nature. I'll have our Facebook page down in the comments. Here's a little bit about the history. I'm reading on script here. In the mid-1700s, the British colonies of North America had many reasons to be disgruntled with the British Empire and the ruling class in England, recognizing the things that would get worse before they got better. Many amongst the people banded together to push an ideally they all shared. This ideally identified and acknowledged that every person has from birth certain rights. These are not granted by any authority other than their creator. The limitation or denial of these rights is defined as tyranny or oppression. These bands of people work together to peacefully resolve the abuses of their government, but recognize that peace was not a guaranteed solution. Eventually, an idea was coined of having Minutemen, available at a moment's notice should the king's tyranny show up in their town, on their streets, or at their door. These Minutemen would meet, train, and prepare to defend themselves, their family, and their townships from an ever-encroaching empire. It is from these Minutemen where the 3% name originated. It is a rough estimate that only 3% of the colonists were actively fighting in the field against British forces at any given time. Today we recognize with this 3% and being that we will be the last defense to protect the citizens of the United States if there ever comes a day when our government takes up arms against the American people. We have 4 principles. All 3%ers must abide by the following principles. Anyone who cannot accept these principles as a self-imposed discipline are not welcome in this organization, nor should ever consider themselves a part of the 3% movement. Moral strength. Knowing what is right and wrong and acting accordingly. Being trustworthy, truthful, and holding high values and principles. Strength to stand up when something is morally wrong. Physical readiness. Physical readiness is defined as the ability to meet the physical demands of any task in order to accomplish the objective at hand. There are some 3%ers that have disabilities that prevent them from meeting the physical demands, and for these there is an exception. Number 3, no first use of force. Do not fire unless fired upon. We are not the aggressor nor antagonists. We are purely defensive and only as a last resort. And number 4, no targeting of innocents. Self-explanatory. What our goal is, our long-term goal and main focus of the 3%ers is to get patriots to network, prepare, and petition together on a local level, even a national level. We intend to provide a framework and guidance that the people can use to make positive change in restoring the founding principles of our constitutional republic. We plan to leverage incorporated fail-safes and laws to ensure success in preserving the Constitution as the supreme law of the land. Leadership roles in this organization were created to achieve this goal and serve, not command, those they are appointed over. That is basically what the 3%ers is about. Myself, I'm a 3%er. I can live by all 4 principles. I have the moral strength. I have the physical readiness. I do not use force first. I do not target innocence. If you target innocence, you're like the people, you're like the person in Las Vegas, you're like the guy down in Texas. That is what we want to prevent as a last resort. There were several 3%ers down there in Texas on an observe and report basis only. They were not allowed to interfere with the investigation because, as you know, they could be arrested for hindering a federal investigation. So they were commanded to observe and report back to the 3%ers command as needed. If they saw something that they didn't really agree with but wasn't a big deal, kept it to themselves. If they saw something that should never be agreed with and was extremely how do I put this? Extremely self-explanatory and not right in any way, they were to report back to the 3%ers command chain of command. A couple things I wanted to kind of touch base on today is I have a couple apps on my phone that I like to listen to or even talk on. Many of you may know of the website called Radio Reference. Here I have an app, it's called Broadcastify. It's basically, you can listen to most of the feeds that are on Radio Reference. You tap my current location. I live in Pottawatomie County, Kansas, and you tap on Pottawatomie County EMS and you can listen to the live feed. And so yeah, that's what I'm hearing right now because nothing's going on. Another app, our walkie-talkie app, is called Zello. What we do is we have our own, you have your history. Once you get logged in, you get your account created up, you have your history, you have your contacts. The top ones will be shown as the ones that you that have accepted your request. The bottom ones, the ones that are brown or black, are the ones that have not accepted your request, and so on and so forth. You will always have one contact in your contacts list, mainly because that's to test your radio, and I highly suggest you do not delete it. It's called Echo. And then you have your channel thing. So if you download Zello walkie-talkie app, go and search that, and you'll have to request it. I will have to give you a password to go on, but you can talk on here like this and it'll sound like that when you press the walkie-talkie button, and so on and so forth. And you can always listen to the history that you've talked in, and so on and so forth. So there's that, and I think I'm going to cut this video a little bit short, and I will have another video directly after this. Okay, catch ya.